What's up, Zoxaskun? We're back with some more Etheria Restart. Now, the new Animus Liliam has officially had her kit dropped. Now, this isn't getting into the specifics, but this is giving us more of an idea of what this character is bringing to the table. So we're going to go ahead and jump in, and I'll give you guys my thoughts. So let's see.
Lilium is an offensive type Animus who embodies
DPS,
execute mechanics, and crowd control. With control immunity for her passive, she ensures constant
control immunity is crazy.
And AoE stun allow her to dominate the
She has a lot in her kit.
Her shield piercing and HP reduction abilities make her highly effective in PvP. Skill 1 deals damage to a single target and heals herself for a portion of the damage dealt.
So that was a single hit right there.
Immunity to all crowd control and turn meter minus effects.
That's okay. That part right there is nuts, because what this already is showing, right, is like her value in like most content just kind of skyrockets, because I feel like most of the major bosses that a lot of people are struggling with have some sort of turn meter like pushback or control effect. And her, like, I mean, if we go through the bosses, Nico Nana stuns you, right? Like, she's immune to that. You get pushback from Terra Matan. She's immune to that. You see the general gist here. So it seems like directly to a problem that we're having, this is a unit coming in that's directly answering that. But I want to talk to you that, right? Before you be like, Zox! Listen, don't get mad yet, right? I'm gonna give you my full thoughts on that, okay? So give me a second. But let's continue.
Deals 2 instances of single target damage. The damage increases based on the target's missing HP. If the target's HP falls below a certain threshold, it is guaranteed.
So that might have been two, maybe 3 hits.
The target, all enemies are guaranteed.
Wow, that's insane.
Ultimate skill grants herself increased attack and increased speed, then deals massive single target damage. If the target's HP is above a certain threshold, the damage is increased. This attack
that's insane.
Shields and reduces the target's max HP by a portion of the damage dealt.
So, man, I mean, there's so much that's packed into this unit. Like, I think that, okay, and I'm going to say this before anybody does, because this is the same thing that happened with Yeli. She was written off, and people were like, oh, Rose is better. Listen, this character is number one, is going to be able to self-facilitate herself, which she can heal herself, but then she can also increase her attack in her own speed, which means that she can increase her damage that she deals, which means she also can heal herself more, and she's able to rotate herself quicker. So the thing with her is that she also is reducing HP on her opponent, which is going to allow her to guarantee that she's getting that scaling of HP loss at a certain threshold, like basically always. And so the more damage that she's able to deal, the more that she's able to decrease that HP threshold, which means that she's inherently going to be doing more damage the longer it is that she's fighting a specific thing. Now, outside of that, like if we're even just talking about like even for the AoE stun, that's huge. Like, and they specifically showed Doki Doki, right? Because when we're talking about Doki Doki, that's like one of the big gimmicks here is the damage reduction and being able to remove that. And she's actually coming in with a lot more utility, because here's the other thing, right? And I forgot, Doki Doki stuns you too, right? Like, she's literally counteracting 99% of some of the gripe things that people have to deal with in like PvE content, especially because of that, right? Like in that you can get stunned, which can ruin your rotation, and now you just don't get to do anything. But she's going to be able to deal with that ad, and they specifically had it target the one on the outside because that's usually the weaker one. And then granting that stun, it's going to make it to where she actually operates a lot better. And just in general, she's going to be able to operate on both slow and fast teams, right? Because that damage reduction is the thing that like honestly cooks most runs. And that's going to make your slower teams more consistent, maybe even a little bit faster, because she can guarantee if she can get that first kill, everybody's stunned, which means now you're not having to go so crazy with relying on just Kazuyo, which then, you know, of course, then you'll still be able to get the damage amp from that, but that'll just be like a kind of like an extra layer. But that's all relying upon summoning this character. And I think the other thing, and the thing that I look at for the most part, is how much lattice investment is going to take to get this character to really operate a certain way. It is possible that this could be a character out the box that just kind of works. But the only one that's kind of out of the box and just kind of works out of the SSR LDs definitely is going to be leaning more towards like Doki Doki. I would say she has like the least required amount of investment for her to work out of all the LDs. I feel like for the DPS, they tend to lean a little bit more to a heavy investment. And that just kind of seems to be the trend, whether you're looking at Yeli, whether you're looking at Messiah. I don't know if they're going to stray away with Lilium and making her a super entry level, just like light investment or even almost some to no investment character. I don't see that being the case when she's able to do all of these things like AoE immunity or immunity to stun, AoE stun, single target guaranteed stun, HP reduction into damage scaling, into attack up, speed up buff. It's healing herself. Like, that's a lot. Right? That's absolutely a lot. So I will say, like, just for what it is as well in terms of PvP, okay? This is definitely something that's, like, going to be an answer there as well for some things. But I also think that this is, like, one of the things that, like, a lot of players are looking at. Like, I know somebody said, something with, like, the RGBs. Like, our RGB units, like the Fuchi, the Nahor, very solid units, especially the Fuchi. She came into the game, basically no to little investment to making her work. But I definitely see Lilium being a character that might have to have some investment, but we'll have to still wait and see. Now, to touch on something that I was about to say before, on basically having this character come in and kind of being the solution, I don't mind that to be the case if, okay, and this is a big if the balances and the whatever adjustments they decide to do in this off season end up being really, really good, right? Because I think that if it ends up being that like Lilium's the sole option, then that's going to make it feel like, and I mean, not even just feel like, it is going to be very obvious that this was a unit to sell the solution, right? And that's one thing that I think that no matter what game you play, that's something that you try to avoid altogether this early in the current state that we're at. You want there to definitely be balances that exist within what more than likely some players might have. But of course, having something that also works within the given meta is perfectly fine, as long as that's not the only thing. I think that that's the thing that I've tried to like really emphasize, because let's be real here. I do believe, again, that free-to-plays don't need to have everything, but I think that like when you then put the solution in like that 3K crystal mark or margin, and now that's a thing, that's kind of like, I mean, granted, we could make the argument of the semantics. It's like, oh, everything goes into standard banner, but we talked about this a while back, is that like after a while, you shouldn't even be pulling standard banner, because you're just pulling, like it's like pulling for a needle in a haystack. Like you're just kind of sitting there pulling in hopes that you might get something different. So it ends up being a lot less efficient to pull into the standard banner the longer and longer and longer you play, because it's random on what you get. And if I'm being honest, are we really dupe farming in this game? Like, not really. That's not really your goal, especially if you're free to play. So I would say we're going to have to wait and see what exactly the changes are going to be. That's what's ultimately going to really determine my overall opinion on this character, is what are the adjustments going to be for, like, you know, not just PvP, but also for PvE, maybe to shine some more light or give more value to other characters. Because then at that point, hey, do what you want, right? But I feel like if this ends up being one of those characters that comes in and it's just kind of like the only character that's able to do something, like this character, if I'm being 100% honest, is like kind of giving Ho Yan, but on drugs vibes. Like just a little bit, you know? So I don't know. We were even talking about not too long ago, single target damager coming into the game and just how we were lacking single target damage altogether. And it seems like that's now another thing that they're kind of throwing in the game, but it's just coming in the form of like more so LD, right? And so I think there is that emphasis of like there needing to be RGBs that have this value, because if we go through like single target with the list of single target units that exist within the game that are RGB that are actually good, Chloros, you know, like it's that, right? Yeah, chloros, right? And so I think that that's something that, over time, and I would say sooner than later, they're definitely going to have to address that. But I'm interested in knowing how you guys feel. Like I said, for me, it's one of those things where I'm going to try to get the character so I can let you guys know from my perspective on what exactly is worthwhile if you should be trying to get this character, if you have the means to. It just really all depends. But yeah, guys, that's basically going to be that with this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.